All right, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the Scoreboard. Yes, I am here. I am live. I am in studio on this wonderful Tuesday. You're listening to the Scoreboard right here on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM. Streaming live always to Facebook, YouTube, X, LinkedIn. You can get us on our website, WSICnews.com. As I always say, we are worldwide. Call me up if you'd like to talk, 704-873-1400. 844-STUDIO-4 is also the number. That's 844-788-3464. Oh, we got a lot to digest today. I was not live in studio on Friday. If you were listening, you heard a pre-recorded show where we talked a little bit about the games coming up over the weekend for the NFL, and then we did a little bit of a MLB catch-up with our buddy Nick DiCostanzo with MLB Data Operations. And today we actually have some Hall of Fame news in the MLB where we could find out who is being inducted into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. I'll have that for you as we get the updates. That is actually going on live at 6 o'clock, which is about 7 minutes ago on MLB Network. So as we get that information into our studio here, I will be giving you the information. We had playoff football last night. We have some Panthers update. Oh my goodness, we have a lot of news. Playoff football, not last night, Saturday and Sunday night. We had high school basketball, college basketball. What more could you want? So we're going to touch on everything, including the NBA, where the Hornets made a trade. It was an interesting one. We will discuss that a little bit, and we'll talk about the injury to Peter Kochetkov for the Hurricanes and how that could affect them moving forward. But as we always do, we can't forget about our high school sports. And I just want to say that last week, I received a call from a listener who was wondering about wrestling information, high school wrestling, and I started looking into it. Max Preps, man, nobody has any information for me. And I'm looking on these pages on Max Preps at these schools, West Iredell, North Iredell. North Iredell specifically is what he was interested in. And I got absolutely no results from that. So if anybody knows where I can get my high school wrestling updates, it's not Max Preps. It's not NCHSAA.com, that's for sure. I don't know where we're going to get it. But we do have some information because playoffs are coming up. So we should have some information on who the people, the individuals are that are going to be competing, as well as the schools that will be competing in the playoffs. So we'll have that for you when I get the information, when I can find the information. So we might have to reach out to some more sources on that one. But we're going to stick with the high school basketball scene. That's the one that's been the easiest to grab as of late. All of those scores are up to date. And we're going to start, as we always do, with Mooresville High School. They had a game on Thursday and on Friday, both on the road. First one against South Iredell, the second one against A.L. Brown. Mooresville victorious in both of those games, improving to 4-1 in conference. That puts them third in the 4A Greater Metro Conference, and overall sitting 12-5. As we do have a caller into the studio here, we're going to pause the high school talk and take this call. Caller, thanks for calling in today. What's your name? What do you got for me?
Hey, Joe, it's the Tar Heel man.
Hey,
Feeling better?
I am feeling a little bit better today, yes. I don't know if you can hear my voice isn't fully back yet, but I'm trying to keep the energy high and give you the information you need. You see North Carolina moving up in those rankings.
Yeah, buddy. 8-0. I told you got to watch out for the Tar Heels this year.
Yeah, there you have.
Undefeated, 2 games up on the rest of the league there. Nobody's even close right now. So
yeah.
Hopefully they can keep it going.
Well, they got a big one coming up here soon against Florida State, who is 5-2 in conference. So they are to games back on that one. And then we're a few weeks away from this matchup against Duke. I know everybody's got that one circled.
That's right. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it'll be a big game at Florida State. That'll be a tough game, too. They gave them, the first game of the season there was pretty tough, and Carolina came back at the end to win it in Chapel Hill. But it'll be interesting. I'm sure they won't go undefeated, obviously, but hopefully they can make it interesting and come out with another victory. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and at this point, it's pretty safe to say that the Tar Heels are going to be tops in the ACC. At this point, I think they're going to be just maneuvering where they're going to end up when it comes to making the bracket for the NCAA tournament, because they are going to be one of those top seeds as long as they can keep winning in the ACC and get that ACC championship a little bit later in the year.
Right, yeah, definitely. They, barring injury or anything unknown, they should be right up there near the top, I think, when it's all said and done for the conference. So
yeah,
we'll just have to see how it plays out, but they're in great shape right now. So I got to brag on them a little bit. RJ went off for 36 points and was pretty unstoppable there in the second half.
He was, and I was just about to bring him up. He's one of the most electric players in college basketball right now. Definitely one of the best, and he's right here in North Carolina, averaging 21 points a game right now, leading the Tar Heels.
Yeah, and he's not even 6 foot tall. The guy's a little beast, man. He's something else.
He is something else. He's going to be fun to watch for the rest of the season. Nice senior player there for North Carolina. I'm excited to see where the season goes for them.
Yeah, he should definitely be. Right now he's definitely ACC Player of the Year. If he keeps that going, he'll be robbed if he doesn't get it. I know there's some other good guys out there, but right now, he's above everybody else at this point. So hopefully he can keep it going.
I'm right there with you. I think he's going to be the ACC Player of the Year, especially, like you said, barring any injuries, which we really hope we don't see any of that. But I would have him top of the list right now.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody's giving Baycott a bunch of slack, but hey, if the guy's got the hot hand, you feed him the ball. Go where the action's at, right? It's just
I agree.
You don't worry about your numbers. That's a sign of an unselfish player too, when you're not just hunting your shot, worrying about your double doubles, and setting records for that, and just feed the hot guys and take some attention off of him, and he can facilitate the defense. And he was doing some other great things that aren't necessarily on the charts, but making it happen for the whole team.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, appreciate you calling in as always, our resident Tar Heel fan, Tar Heel reporter, I guess we can call it today. But thanks for calling in. We're going to be coming up on a break here, so I'll let you go from the line. And
okay, Joe, hope you get to feeling better, buddy. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks you. I really do appreciate those kind words. I am feeling a little bit better. I wasn't here yesterday. I just was not up to it. Had no energy. Had a little bit of a fever, but we're getting better. When we come back from this commercial break, I do want to wrap up the high school basketball scene before we move into talking about the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. This is the Scoreboard. Stay with me. We're back after this.
More of Sports Director Joe Berg's The Scoreboard is coming up on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, not going to see a whole lot more sunshine as we go throughout the rest of this week. Clouds are with us today with the occasional patch of drizzle from time to time. High temperatures still back in the mid-40s for our Tuesday. Rain chances go up a bit each day as we head toward the end of the week. An isolated shower tomorrow for our Wednesday. Temperatures climbing up too in the 50s tomorrow. Best chance for rain this week going to be Thursday into Friday. Temperatures climbing to the 60s then too. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Merle Fest is back, April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College. Featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information can be found at merlefest.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Want to attend the Greater Charlotte Home and Landscape Show? How about the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show? Throughout the day, you have your chance to win tickets. Listen to Good Morning LKN, the Home Ad Show, the News Drive at 5, and the Scoreboard. Each show gives you your chance to win. The Greater Charlotte Home and Garden Show, February 23rd through the 25th. The Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, January 26th through the 28th. Mooresville's Parks and Recreation is excited to bring The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater to the Charles Mack Citizen Center, Saturday, February 10th. This is not your usual murder mystery experience. An evening of theater and mystery that will have you laughing and gasping. The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater, Saturday, February 10th. For more info, visit ourtownstage.com. Chi-Town Transit Authority is coming to Kane Center for the Arts, Saturday, February 3rd. Come hear the 8-piece Chicago tribute band, horn and woodwind sections included. Chi-Town Transit Authority, Kane Center for the Arts, Saturday, February 3rd. KaneArts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Got a Toyota? Get it serviced at Quality Car Care of Statesville. Looking for a great pre-owned vehicle? Quality Car Care has you covered at 2040 Old Mountain Road. Visit QualityCarCareStatesville.com.
Talk sports with Joe Berg. Call 844-STUDIO-4. It's the Scoreboard on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right. Segment number 2 here today on this wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. This is the Scoreboard right here on WSIC. 844-STUDIO-4 is the phone number. We do have some MLB news rolling into the studio here as we speak. Adrian Beltre has been elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame in his first time on the ballot. And actually, as I was reading that, another one comes in. Joe Mauer has been elected to the Hall of Fame in his first time on the Hall of Fame ballot. So as of right now, we have Beltre and Mauer being inducted into the MLB Hall of Fame. This is ongoing as we speak. If you're interested in it and you don't feel like hearing my voice, I hope you want to hear my voice, but you can tune into the MLB Network to watch coverage of the Hall of Fame. I guess it's the ballot reveal show is what they're calling it. Joe Mauer and Adrian Beltre, 2 players just inducted into the Hall of Fame. We're going to continue with the high school sports talk. We didn't really get too far into it, so we got to cover this basketball news here. We talked about Mooresville High School. Their next game is actually today at 7:30. They are at home taking on the next team that we're going to be talking about, that being the Lake Norman Wildcats. That's right. We have a rivalry game tonight as Mooresville takes on Lake Norman, and Lake Norman has been rolling. On Friday, they beat South Iredell 73-25. They almost tripled the score of South Iredell. That is a tough game right there. That is a tough, tough game. Man, Lake Norman, they have been rolling. The one hiccup in their schedule against Weddington during the holiday tournament, that was the Phenom Holiday Classic presented by Sport Mode 1. That was a semifinal game. They lost that game by 1 and then went on to win the third place game against Davidson Day. Other than that, 4-0 in the 4A Greater Metro Conference. Hickory Ridge is behind them. They are also 4-0 in conference, but 13-3 on the regular season. And those two teams, they will be playing 2 more times this year. Actually, on the 25th, so on Thursday, we will have Lake Norman taking on Hickory Ridge. That could be a battle for first place in the conference. Moving right along to the team we've had our eyes on for a while now. That's Statesville High School, 7-8 on the year, 3-2 in the conference, and a little bit of a hiccup here over the last couple of games. On Wednesday and Friday of last week, they lost both of their games. The first one on the road against Carson, 79-44. Second one also on the road against St. Stephen's, 70-65. Things don't get easier for Statesville. They have a game tonight. They take on Hickory Red Tornadoes, who are 15-0 right now in the conference, leading the 3A Western Foothills with a 5-0 record. West Iredell basketball also has a game tonight. They actually have a rivalry game. They'll be playing their rivals to the north, North Iredell. That game at 7:30 in the West Iredell home gym. On Friday, they played North Lincoln and fell by a score of 84-58. That dropped their record on the year to 2-12, 0-5 in the conference, and they are now in the middle of a 4-game losing streak and only 1 win in their last 10 games. So tough stretch of basketball here for West Iredell. And as we talked about them, North Iredell will be playing West Iredell. Their last game was on Friday against East Lincoln, and that one didn't go well for North Iredell either. So they have a 3-game losing streak going right now. They fell to East Lincoln, score 83-64, looking to turn it around against West Iredell. And the last team that we've been talking about every single day here on the scoreboard has been South Iredell. I just told you about the game that they had on Friday against Lake Norman. Wasn't pretty. Was not pretty. South Iredell now on a 6-game losing streak, 1 win in their last 13 games, I believe is what the math comes out to. 2-15 on the season. Just a tough season all around for South Iredell. Not much going positively over there. That is your high school basketball sports update. Let's move right on along to the NFL divisional playoffs. And it started out interesting. I mean, game number 1 on Saturday, the Ravens and the Texans, if you would have told the Texans that they would have been at 10-10 going into halftime against the Ravens on the road, I think they would have taken it. They would have said, absolutely, we'll take that. We are right where we want to be. Well, the second half came around, and Houston did not score another point in the game. 24 unanswered from the Ravens as the 1 seed in the AFC destroys Houston 34-10. And what stood out to me in this game is just how well the Ravens were able to keep it together after having not the best start to their game. Also, Lamar Jackson running the ball, unstoppable. 11 rushes for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. He only threw the ball 22 times, but he added 150 through the air and 2 more touchdowns on the day. The second game, I think, was probably the second most exciting game. Maybe not on paper, but it turned out to be one of the better games. The Packers on the road in San Francisco in the rain, awful, awful conditions. And here's my takeaway from this one. The Packers, yet again, found a franchise quarterback. Let him sit for 3 years and then unleashed him to the world. The similarities between Favre, Rodgers, and Love in their first season is insane. And when you look at the numbers in the regular season and playoffs combined, Love was far and away the best of the three. It's going to be an interesting season next year for the Packers because I think they're going to have some expectations on their shoulders. And they put up a fight. They should have won that game. They led for most of the game, just losing right at the end as San Francisco puts up 10 in the fourth for a comeback victory. They were down 21-14 going into the fourth. Green Bay had them right where they wanted them. Unfortunately, for the Packers, they weren't able to hold on. And I'll tell you what, Brock Purdy, he didn't look good. He looked like a 7th-round draft pick in that game. And I'm going to give him a pass. I am, because he looked great most of the year. But Debo got hurt early, and we know that offense is completely different when Debo is out of the game. And not only that, the conditions were terrible. You can't even sit there and say that Jordan Love showed him up in the weather, because he didn't. Jordan Love threw 2 interceptions. Brock Purdy at least didn't turn the ball over. But 2 rushing touchdowns from McCaffrey, 98 yards on the ground, helped carry this team, as well as the touchdown to George Kittle early in that game, helping the 49ers move on to the NFC Championship game for the second year in a row. And this time, they'll be taking on the Detroit Lions, as the Lions were able to handle business against the Buccaneers on Sunday. 31-23, a game-clinching interception on the final drive of the game. But look, Baker Mayfield, he had a great game. And if I'm the Buccaneers giving him that 1-year prove-it deal, he proved it. And for the Panthers, I don't want to have to face Baker next year. I don't, because he's got the confidence now. And you saw it at the end of the year. He was killing it at the end of the year. One of the best players in the league, in my opinion, at quarterback towards the last 4 weeks of the season. And the Buccaneers, they fall up short. Because those Lions, man, it's fun to see a team like the Detroit Lions going deep into the playoffs. Their fans have been tortured, man. Listen, this is crazy. The Lions went 0-16 in this decade, and they got to a conference championship. Before the Cowboys. 0-16 in this century. They were 0-16, didn't win a single game, and the Lions still make it to an NFC championship game before the Cowboys make it back. Man, that is something. We're going to head to a commercial break here. We got one more divisional round game to talk about, and that might be the one that everybody had their eyes on. The highest watched divisional game in NFL history. Over 50 million people tuned in to see the Bills play the Chiefs. We'll talk about that one on the other side of the break, as well as your college basketball update before we get into the NBA and the NHL. So stick with me here through the break. This is the Scoreboard on WSIC. We're back after this.
This guy knows his sports, right? There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, not going to see a whole lot more sunshine as we go throughout the rest of this week. Clouds are with us today with the occasional patch of drizzle from time to time. High temperatures still back in the mid-40s for our Tuesday. Rain chances go up a bit each day as we head toward the end of the week. An isolated shower tomorrow for our Wednesday. Temperatures climbing up too in the 50s tomorrow. Best chance for rain this week going to be Thursday into Friday. Temperatures climb into the 60s then too. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Happening now at Randy Marion Ford in Statesville.
That's right, folks. We have flipped the calendar. 2024 is here. Happy New Year from Randy Marion Ford Lincoln. Come see us this year for all your car needs, whether it's a new Ford, a new Lincoln, quality pre-owned. Randy Marion Ford in Statesville, we have got you covered. I-77 exit 49B. Look for the spinning car, folks, because that is where the deals are.
RandyMarionFord.com.
Okay, I'm talking funny because I'm in the witness protection program. I have too much credit card debt and I don't want people to find me.
Okay, I'm just kidding. We're going to talk about credit card debt. Right, those plastic things that we all have in our wallet. Are you in your 50s or 60s and you're still carrying around a mound of credit card debt? Wouldn't it be nice to start banking that money and save a little money for retirement down the road? We help people restructure their credit card debt all the time. We show people how they can get out of credit card debt in months, not years. Listen, you'll be carrying around credit card debt for the rest of your life unless you deal with it right now. We offer a free consultation so you can learn how you can finally wipe out your credit card debt and start saving money. Give us a free call right now.
Call Debt Solutions Network now. 866-451-3328. 866-451-3328. That's 866-451-3328.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-869-8560. 800-869-8560. 800-869-8560. That's 800-869-8560.
President Biden recently released a massive $6 trillion budget, the largest budget in U.S. history. And guess who pays the bill? That's right, you, the American taxpayer. American citizens and business owners will be paying more taxes. That's a fact. And if you owe back taxes, they will be coming after you to collect payments. In fact, President Biden also hired thousands more IRS agents to go after you. If you got a letter from the IRS and you know you owe back taxes or you haven't filed in years, don't put your head in the sand. Call us today. We've saved our customers millions of tax dollars. One quick, free phone call will show you how we can reduce your past tax bill and save you thousands. Guaranteed, or you pay nothing. Call now.
800-218-6440. 800-218-6440. 800.
Now more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, we are back. It is segment number 3 here on the Scoreboard. Quick update for you as we do have more information rolling into the studio from the MLB regarding Hall of Fame inductions. We have a third player who has gotten the call for the Hall of Fame. That being Todd Helton has been elected as an MLB Hall of Famer, this being his 6th year on the ballot. So we got 3 players going to Cooperstown this year: Todd Helton, Adrian Beltre, and Joe Mauer. That is your Hall of Fame class for this year. Let's get into the Chiefs and the Bills. As on Sunday night, we saw yet another classic between what has become one of the best rivalries in the NFL. Chiefs and Bills have played each other 7 times since the year 2020. The Bills have beat them a few times, but when it matters, the Chiefs always come out on top. And it happened yet again. This time, though, it wasn't in Arrowhead in Kansas City. The Bills had home field advantage. It was in Buffalo. It was cold. It was windy. Home field advantage at Highmark Stadium. And you have the Buffalo Bills kicker once again wide right as Tyler Bass misses a field goal underneath 2 minutes to go in the game. And that is what sent the Buffalo Bills home for the season. I'm surprised by this one. I didn't think that the Chiefs were going to be able to get to the conference championship this year. It's been known for the past, 6-7 weeks now that they have been struggling. You know, that game against the Raiders was a big tell where they just couldn't get anything going. Then they get into the playoffs, they win their wild card round, and okay, you start to say, all right, they got it going on. But then they run into one of the hottest teams in the NFL in the Buffalo Bills. And the game is in Buffalo. Everything seems to be going the Bills' way until that fourth quarter started. And I'll tell you what, Buffalo dominated this game. I don't care what the score is. I don't care what you think about this game. Buffalo dominated. They had the ball for 15 extra minutes than Kansas City. They were driving down the field what felt like at will. Just ground and pound, convert the third down. Run, convert. All the way, and it happened multiple times. They had long drives that ate up 8-9 minutes worth of clock. And right at the end of the game, they were on another one of those drives. And Tony Romo said it best. This is one that we're going to look at when we see the end of this game if the Bills lose and say, this is the reason they lost. Josh Allen going for the home run late in the game when the underneath was wide open, would have gotten them a first down, move the chains, and continue the drive. And as I've said many times before, Josh Allen giveth and Josh Allen taketh away. He had a great playoff. If only he could beat a superstar quarterback. He hasn't done that yet. He hasn't beat a good quarterback. He keeps losing to Mahomes. He's lost to Burrow. He beat Skylar Thompson last year, Mason Rudolph this year. Oh, okay. Not the most impressive playoff resume, in my opinion. And I know you're not playing the quarterback on the other side, but you have to play better than the quarterback on the other side. And even though Allen had a really good game, Josh Allen had a great game. Patrick Mahomes was just a little bit better. Only 6 incompletions from Mahomes, 17 of 23, 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. No interceptions for either of these quarterbacks, but we did have a situation that has been discussed earlier in the year, and that's when the offensive team is in the red zone, they get down to the goal line, and oh my goodness, the offensive team fumbled the ball, and it goes out of bounds in the end zone. The ruling on that is a touchback, granting possession to the defense. I don't hate this rule, and it took this game for me to really understand it. In that situation, why are you reaching for the goal line? Why? Go up. Hold on to the ball, kick a field goal if you have to, and go up some more. You fumble the ball. You don't reach the ball across the goal line like that because it's going to get knocked out of your hands. I agree. You should be punished for that. And I think the defense should be rewarded for a goal line stand. And also it made the game a lot more interesting because that was at a moment where it felt like the Chiefs were about to take control, really put it out of hand, and the Bills make a stand, get the ball back. It was all for naught, but I don't think that this rule should be altered in any way. I don't even think that they should move the ball back. Like I've heard suggestions thrown out there that if the ball is fumbled through the end zone like that, move it out to the 20, lost downs, go to the 20-yard line, keep the same down and distance. But that's if it's, that close to the goal line. What if you're, doing an 80-yard pass, you're running down and you get caught from behind and it fumbles out of bounds? Then you're going to put the ball at the 20? I don't think so. I think you should be punished. And the loss of possession is definitely a punishment. So the Chiefs end up beating the Bills 27-24. We look forward for Josh Allen and say, all right, what are the Bills going to do next? Because this was supposed to be a down year for them. It did end up being one as they started 6-6, had to fight and claw their way back into the playoffs. But next year, what is it? What does next year entail? What happens with Gabe Davis? What happens with Stephon Diggs with his bad year? There's going to be a lot of questions in that Bills front office. And for Kansas City, man, another conference championship game. You don't want to make the comparison because he just retired. But he just retired. But, man, we haven't seen a run like this since Tom Brady. Just going back to the conference championship, what feels like every single season. And yet here we are with the Chiefs. Good point made on one of our social feeds here. If you're not watching, you can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, and WSICnews.com. Bill's fake punt didn't work, even with Kansas City a player short. Yeah, that was an interesting call. You're on your own side of the field. It's not a gimme 4th down. It's not 4th and 1. It was 4th and 4. And it's a direct snap to who else but Damar Hamlin, and he can't get it. I guess Damar got bailed out with that Tyler Bass missed field goal because, oh boy. And I've heard, man, I know a lot of Buffalo fans in the area. For some reason, Buffalo has a lot of fans in this general area. And they're saying, the fans supported Norwood when he missed his kick wide right. It's like, yeah, there was no social media back then. If there was social media back then, oh boy. Tyler Bass had to disable his social media account, probably because he was hearing it from the fans up in Buffalo. And I don't blame them one bit. I would be upset too. But if you are one of those people messaging your players on your team, don't send death threats. We deal with this every year. It's a game. We're having fun. It's all for fun. Don't send death threats. It's ridiculous. That is how the NFL shook down over the weekend. We have the conference championship coming up on Sunday. Kansas City Chiefs travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens, while the Lions, yes, the Detroit Lions, they were 0-16 earlier this century. Like, 20 years? Not even 20 years ago, they were 0-16. 15 years ago, maybe. 0-16. And here they are in a conference championship game before the Cowboys. This century. We're going to take our final break of the day. When we come back, we are going to touch on the NBA and the trade that the Hornets made, as well as talk about college basketball. We can save till tomorrow. We're going to get into the NHL. We do have an injury to Peter Kochetkov, the goaltender for Carolina. We'll talk about that and what it means moving forward. Stay with me. Last break of the day, one more segment to go on this Tuesday. You are listening to the Scoreboard. We're back after this.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, not going to see a whole lot more sunshine as we go throughout the rest of this week. Clouds are with us today with the occasional patch of drizzle from time to time. High temperatures still back in the mid-40s for our Tuesday. Rain chances go up a bit each day as we head toward the end of the week. An isolated shower tomorrow for our Wednesday. Temperatures climbing up too in the 50s tomorrow. Best chance for rain this week going to be Thursday into Friday. Temperatures climbing to the 60s then too. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Merlefest is back, April 25th through the 28th at Wilkes Community College. Featuring nearly 100 performers, including Old Crow Medicine Show, Turnpike Troubadours, the Teskey Brothers, Nickel Creek, and more. Tickets and information can be found at merlefest.org. Listen each morning to Good Morning LKN for your chance to win tickets. Want to attend the Greater Charlotte Home and Landscape Show? How about the Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show? Throughout the day, you have your chance to win tickets. Listen to Good Morning LKN, the Home Ad Show, the News Drive at 5, and the Scoreboard. Each show gives you your chance to win. The Greater Charlotte Home and Garden Show, February 23rd through the 25th. The Charlotte Home and Remodeling Show, January 26th through the 28th. Mooresville's Parks and Recreation is excited to bring The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater to the Charles Mack Citizen Center, Saturday, February 10th. This is not your usual murder mystery experience. An evening of theater and mystery that will have you laughing and gasping. The Great Magician Murder Mystery Dinner Theater, Saturday, February 10th. For more info, visit ourtownstage.com. Chi-Town Transit Authority is coming to Kane Center for the Arts, Saturday, February 3rd. Come hear the 8-piece Chicago tribute band, horn and woodwind sections included. Chi-Town Transit Authority, Kane Center for the Arts, Saturday, February 3rd. KaneArts.org. That's CAIN.
Tomorrow. Have a good night,
arts.org.
everybody.
Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
Make your work easier with Eagle Rentals of Troutman and Statesville. Eagle Rentals has generators, heaters, fans, painting equipment, floor care equipment, pressure washers, lighting equipment, and lawn care equipment. Plus, Eagle Rentals has construction equipment like forklifts, bobcat loaders, backhoes, excavators, and more. Reserve online at eaglerentals.com. That's eaglerentals.com.
The Scoreboard with Joe Berg continues now on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we are back. It is the Scoreboard, final segment of the day here on WSIC. Call me up at 844-STUDIO-4 if you have something on your mind that you might want to talk about, might want to discuss. Maybe you want to shout out a local athlete. Maybe you just want to shout out the fact that the Carolina Panthers have made a move. Yes, we have an update on the Carolina Panthers and their head coaching search, as well as their GM search. Now, we don't know who the head coach is going to be just yet, but we do know who the next general manager is going to be. And this lies right in line with what I've been talking about, how it may be hard to get outside people to want to come into Charlotte to hold these positions. The Carolina Panthers hired Dan Morgan as their general manager yesterday. That was the announcement that was made. Dan Morgan played with the team. He is now the general manager and president of football operations. He was the assistant general manager last year, so a little bit of a promotion for him. He's been around the team, and he's been a part of the team. In 2004, Dan Morgan was a Pro Bowler with the Carolina Panthers, middle linebacker. He recorded over 100 tackles that year, so pretty good season for him. But this lies right in line with what I've been talking about, how the Panthers may find some difficulty going outside of their organization to get these people to come in and hold these roles. I'm not saying this is what happened here. I'm not. I'm just saying it's in-house. I'm curious to see where the head coach search goes, because we still have, and this will happen probably soon, but we still have an interview with Eagles offensive coordinator Brian Johnson. But everybody else that the Panthers have requested or wanted to interview, they have interviewed, including the Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson and the Bucs offensive coordinator Dave Canales. But we'll see where it goes. I still think that they're going to end up having to go in-house to get a head coach. I don't think that anybody outside of the organization is going to want to be a part of this organization. But we'll see what happens as we go through the rest of the offseason. But that is your update right now for the Carolina Hurricanes. For the Carolina Panthers. They are getting a GM. And that's the first step to the offseason is you got to get a GM. And now that GM has to go get a coach that he can gel with. So we'll see where it ends up going. It's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure. I do like the decision to keep it fairly in-house, but maybe not for the coaching position. I still think Ben Johnson is my number one guy if I was to have my say. But I don't have my say. I'm just a guy on the air that's talking about nothing, basically. Let's move right on along here. The NBA. I talked about it a little bit as a teaser. The Heat and the Hornets have agreed to a trade. Terry Rozier goes from Charlotte to Miami in exchange for Kyle Lowry and a 2027 first-round pick. Here is my beef with the NBA, and I'm not even talking about this trade specifically, because honestly, if it was going to happen, it was going to happen. The Hornets, they have to rebuild. They're not going to win anytime soon. They got a not old, but older-ish guard. I mean, late 20s, 29 years old, Terry Rozier. He's having a great year, honestly, for the Hornets, but this team is not going anywhere. So they're trying to get what they can for him while they can. And in return, they get Kyle Lowry, which is pretty much a cap dump by Miami. But the Hornets get their first-round pick. They get an extra one, but it's in 2027. That's 4 years from now. Do these GMs that trade for these picks think that they're going to be around to make these first-round selections? Because that's 4 years from now. That's a long time to think that. That's 3 years. I guess it's 2024 now. It's 3 years from now. That's a long time to assume that you're going to hold on to your position as general manager, especially on a team that only has 10 wins halfway through the year. But nonetheless, we have a trade. And it shows the direction of the team. It shows that they're not really going anywhere right now. They're still going to tool up and look for the future. And it's going to be a long rebuild. It is. And general manager Mike Kupchak, he pulls the trigger on this, and 2027 first round pick. I don't like it. How many years in the future should you be allowed to trade? I don't think it should be many. Maybe 2-3 years in the future. And I know 2027, 3 years from now, that's like the limit of what I think you should be able to do. Because, man, you're the GM of the team, but you're not going to be around to make the pick if you trade for a first-round pick in the year 2028. You're not going to be here. Your team is terrible. And it's still and this is the position the Hornets are in. Their team is terrible. Terrible, terrible. But we'll see what happens. Now that we move on from Terry Rozier, team is not going to be anywhere near as good as they were. Not that they were good to begin with, but we're retooling. It's going to be a long rebuild. We might not have success in the NBA in Charlotte for years to come. We might not. There's no, I have no knowledge of this whatsoever. But something tells me that the NBA in Charlotte is not going to happen for much longer. Because the first team left because they were bad. Second team, all-time bad. before they change back to the Hornets. I'm talking about you, the Bobcats, one of the saddest stints of a team ever. And now they're still bad, so we'll see what happens. Moving right along, we don't have much time left, but I do want to at least talk a little bit about the NHL because we do have not only some games today, although the Hurricanes are not playing today. They play tomorrow. Their road trip that I've been talking about. They've been home for so long, but now they go on this one road game before coming back home against Boston. The Hurricanes are okay right now. Things are not as good as they were a week and a half or so ago, but they're still okay. Third place in the Metropolitan right now at 55 points. The Flyers 1 spot ahead of them and 1 point ahead of them with 56 points, but the Hurricanes have 2 games in hand on the Flyers, so not much to worry about there. You still have the New York Rangers on top of the division with 60 points, 29 wins, 15 losses, 2 overtime losses for those Rangers. And the separation in the Metro is starting to take place little by little. Second through sixth, still only separated by 6 points. But right now, the 7th place team, the Pittsburgh Penguins, they're starting to fall out of the race a little bit as they're 8 points back of the Flyers, 12 points out of the lead in the division. The Blue Jackets, last place, they've been in last place for a while. They're not a great team this year. We really don't have to worry too much about them making a comeback as they're 11 points behind the Penguins. But there's still a lot of jockeying that still has to be done when it comes to positioning yourself for the playoffs. And the trade deadline is still a little over a month away. I would look for the Hurricanes to look for that goaltender. I teased it a little bit in the opening of the show. Hurricanes goaltender Peter Kochetkov, he is currently in concussion protocol as he was yanked from Thursday's win over Anaheim after Isaac Lundstrom was pushed into him. So he is in concussion protocol right now. Since December 12th, he is 7-1-2 with a .924 save percentage, which kind of saved the Hurricanes season in a way. Because had he not gone on that stretch, the Hurricanes might be looking at 5th or 6th in the division right now. That would be tough, but that stretch really helped get them to where they need to be. We've made it to the end of the show today. Thanks, everyone, as always, for tuning in, listening to my ramblings about nothing, and calling in with your opinions. We'll be back same time tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm feeling a little bit more better tomorrow. I still got a little bit of a low energy here, as, man, I'm kind of thankful we made it to the end of this one. But thanks for tuning in. As always, I will talk to you guys same time tomorrow as I always do. Until then, have a good one, everyone.